Hello and welcome to Multimedia Plus online television news. Our top stories for this edition. Stone mining began in Sierra Leone. What's the present condition of miners? There has been speculations around a possible emergence of cholera amid the coronavirus pandemic. Multimedia Plus examines living conditions in more WAF and Colvert communities. And Mary Stops warns about a possible increase in the rate of teenage pregnancy in Sierra Leone following the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, as usual, all of these stories and more are lined up in today's news broadcast here on Multimedia Plus online television news. I am Eustace Victor Jones here with you. Now for the news in details. Organized stone mining began in Sierra Leone in the early 1990s, shortly before the 11-year civil war broke out. Precisely 2 decades on, the industry has proven to be one of the most sought-after local industries in the country. The trade began with an estimated number of 250,000 miners, but now the number has quadrupled. But just like other occupations around, this one too has its own hazards. From J-Matter, Theresa Thomas reports.
Venturing into the industry of stone mining is a leap in the dark, a risk one takes of being severed by stone fragments from days, weeks, and even months of constant and painful hammering. Although the price is negotiable, a full mortar pan of granite is sold at 10,000 leones. Sapama has been mining granite rocks for over 20 years now. It is from this trade, he said, that he has been able to school his children and provide food for his family. But the trade is beginning to get cumbersome.
Because we get a finch, we get 3/4 and they stone them. They are finch, the pound we can sell them 10,000 at times. But according to how the customer they come, they charge 10,000. If we give 6,000, they take. I give 5,000 because of the living. Well, them on and then they can try for me picking and school one, and we rent and eat one. But for right now, not easy. As the CBM itself, they stone all London and they counterfeit and they back with the permission now. Because now sign all they say forget them. Well, the stone mining now, if you say it go better for me small. Because now I don't feel work I don't feel work past 11 to 12 years now. I know they get work, so I prefer allow the sit down, allow they broke the stone. Then ain't better for me. Stone there now they tell them do road work. When road work, they dump it and they come. So then give them for go to wait. They will come by na the hand. Go by na the hand. I will say the firm people them will come for it to this size. Well, after this size now, they will come to this other size back. They pay them for day. We then say they do. So at the end now, who say the money now for make so not to all sides will go pay, but they pay some, they will not pay some.
The business of rock breaking has no age barrier in this part of the world. Monica is 17 years old. Unlike other teenagers who spend most of their time in the classroom acquiring formal education, she buries her head on piles of bulky boulders as a means of survival. Monica took after her dad, who is also a stone miner.
My papa from the tower in Bonnie, I met her in the broke stone. My papa went in the broke the stone where they can buy them. Now they in the fund with school fee, now they in the able for solve the problem, now they in the feed we, now they in the all thing for take care of it. Yeah, last week police then come they say make the firm place, make the come on a government place. It's not the Aberdeen line the society pass. They say you know fine for Brookstone and make the go find outside then the Brookstone. They say me all man pull in markets now. And they affect me because I don't defend we live in. I don't go say I left her because I'm not the big one. The small one they don't for go school, small one they don't for do everything. I make a help her. I don't know. I go own my book for study.
Poverty in this part of the globe is omnipresent. As Charles Darwin stated in his theory of natural selection, struggle for existence, Monica is left with a Hobson's choice in the race of survival. The challenges in the trade have almost surpassed the successes. Stone miners had been stretched to a point of giving up. The uncertainties in the trade are almost uncanny. Umar Utholi is the chairman of the J-Matter stone mining site.
The grammar school One day will get them place na ya. Then they pressure we for low left here. Then they force na at trending thing that they will they face it. At any time, any 2-3 months, then they can't tell we say una come where una left here. So then they know they give it at rest. We at not the rest for that. So we not able to get what you want. We they strain, then the sales back we they strain for get sales because of all them tormenting business then they. But anyway, we tell God thank you because then don't deal be away. You see, then don't deal be away. Oh, now not tell you lie. Don't tell what then they change of it. But we still there. Then they left food for love friend living because we not can for can build house, we not can for can make anything now. Only for knock stone and knock block. Don't feed them pull in now, we not get no side, no plan, we not get for go any side. And so no more we get for scatter. If them pull in now, not get no side. Because we now government pass then get for help we.
Given the precariousness of things, stone mining now needs miners who are quite courageous to be able to pull through the cocktail of difficulties that envelop the trade. Multimedia Plus, Theresa Thomas reporting.
Now, if you've been living in Sierra Leone, you would have noticed that cholera is one of the most common diseases in Sierra Leone when it rains. Now, it is a seasonal illness mostly associated with diarrhea and running stomach. In September of 2012, the country recorded a death toll of 392, the highest number of deaths in the disease since it was first reported in 1970. However, with corona piling pressure on the health sector, how prepared is the country for a possible outbreak of the disease? Our reporter Fatmata Bintu Jallo has more.
Susan's Bay is one of the riverine communities in Freetown. Sanitary conditions here are a nightmare, a perfect condition for cholera to thrive. The wharf attracts hundreds of business people on a daily basis, from fishermen arriving with their canoes to traders with fruit and goods from Potloko and other provincial towns. Dr. Alhaji Inja is an associate professor of biological sciences at Fuabe College.
Challenges when you have the rainy season, you have rains, and in Freetown it's prone to flooding. We do have a lot of runoff, surface runoff of water, and because of the way Freetown is situated, or the way the city is located, you have people who are residing on top of the hills, and then you have people who are downstream. And because we don't have a lot of good sewage systems, good good latrines, I would say good toilet systems, most of what happens is that people, there's a lot of surface, there's a lot of proper sewage disposal, and so much of it will end up downstream during the rains and with the flooding, and so it might end up contaminating people's drinking water sources. So if you have a well and the well is downstream, it's not protected, you might have contaminants like E. coli or other things, and this can lead to a high incidence of things like typhoid, and we have other things that are linked to waterborne. Of course, we've had cholera outbreaks in the past, and those are things that have happened in many, we have maybe more than 2 or 3 different cholera outbreaks that have happened, and all of these are linked to this improper sewage disposal, waterborne contamination of our water sources by either bacterial pathogens.
Slums are the most affected communities in Sierra Leone, not only because of the huge crowds of people they attract, but also because of the poor hygiene conditions that prevail. And with COVID-19 in sight, things could get worse. Yusuf Kamara is the chairman of Susan's Bay.
And so the kind food that we will get, because we get some food them as we bring come in space of 2-3 hours to 24 hours, they don't rot in. So fly can get up and when they fly, then they can come out and they go sit down and then food, and they or more like the inside there will not get toilet facilities. So all anything they come, through by that, cholera can come from anything they. Any way toilet facility no dey. When all man they go use that gutter or this that, the gutter and dirty. So fly they go sit down there, they grab, they go for food. So people can get cholera by that. Cholera, the problem we God make we able to solve them. Because one, we get team now where we say that team they very active. As somebody starts, they find out say this person not well, then they want to know what will happen with them. So then they go all out and we rush for care and go to center, go to the clinic center. That now one. Then they tell me people and say, just as waiting and don't start for them all take care of the food them, make them control them picking, because more picking back can get them cholera through by the play where they go play, now the different side them, where they can't eat, they wash in hand, so you can get cholera by that. So
inhabitants here fetch water underneath gutters, piles of garbage in the open, coupled with a habit of open defecation. Hygiene is a stranger to Susan's Bay, but protection against cholera and the diseases that prey on unsanitary environment could warrant the frequent washing of hands, especially for a hugely populated community like this.
Yeah, actually, because for say woman could time kika, then they count streets of mangoes. Then some they don't use them, some they rotty, and as soon as they left there, they know you go to it, they know you get you go to it. The flies then they come up at the mango, at the end, then go at the eat. So people when they conceive to us, they see that they for say fly come on bad side where you can't inside food day, they cause trouble to us the person in the system. Better they run, and they feel malaria, and even the dirty self, they get malaria to us. Fly there mosquito there. Go sit down, go sit to the water that the dirty can not get chance for get that spray them out. It cause them things that they will cause they get from the leg, the sick malaria and things like that.
Now that all eyes are turned to combating the novel coronavirus, care must be taken to preventing the emergence of seasonal diseases as they could make matters worse. Multimedia Plus Online TV, Fatmata Binta Jallo reporting.
This is Eustace Victor Jones still here with you on Multimedia Plus. In case you're just joining us, we are going for a short break. Stay focused.
The package you forget. Even the haters testify, called the man when I was amateur. Couldn't holler them. I said this vicious fever, the Taliban. The game don't see.
The boy Caldanero, man. Live and direct, man, within our studio, man. You know what I mean? Kiss the Throne EP coming. I just can't leave one freestyle. Now this very good studio. The setup is good. Emma and Django. Shout out to Una. Proud of what Una they do. You know, we need more of this in the industry.
Hey, this is Emerson, the last man standing. Of course, we're right here at Multimedia Plus. And we had a great session, and come check it out. It's a great studio, you know, great sounds, great producer, and support your own saloon content. Sugar Entertainment at Multimedia Plus. Peace. Voiceover we there, simple and soundtrack we there, documentary podcast we there.
Welcome back. This is Multimedia Plus Online Television News, and I am Eustace Victor Jones here with you. We are continuing with more stories. Marie Stopes has warned that there might be an increase in the rate of teenage pregnancy in Sierra Leone following the coronavirus outbreak. The healthcare provider, which is one of the oldest in the country, started its operations in the country in 1986. Our reporter Anthony Vandy has been speaking to the marketing and communications manager Marie Stopes Sierra Leone, Emmanuel Jar, in this interview.
And so we do fertility treatment, family planning services, antenatal and postnatal care, cervical cancer screening, ultrasound scanning, laboratory services, and in urban communities and also in rural communities we have about 14 outreach mobile clinics. that do service hard to reach communities, in villages. So the services I first talked about are services that are rendered in our 9 clinics across the country, static clinics in Freetown, in Bow, Makeni, Kono, Kenema, Kabbalah, and so on and so forth. And so for those hard to reach areas, remote communities, villages, we have the 14 mobile clinics that do go to our people in villages. Some roads to those villages are even unmotorable. Our teams go there, they walk on foot to serve our people with family planning, sexual reproductive health information, and also treatment of sexually transmitted infections. As a trusted health provider entity, and that trust is there between us and the people of Sierra Leone. And so it happened during Ebola time when we were here. We opened up our services. And so because people had that trust in us, during the rebel war we are here. So because they have that trust in us, so it might surprise you to know that even when they will be running away, clients, patients will be running away from other health service providers, they come to us, they come to our centers. After this last lockdown, our center was jam-packed. The clinic downstairs here at Abadi Road, Ahmed Drive, was jam-packed with people because there was this lockdown, 3 days lockdown, and people never had the chance to access our services. And so immediately the lockdown was lifted, people were jam-packed. They are always coming because we've over the years projected ourselves as a trusted brand, as a trusted entity. So time Ebola was defeated, we had huge number of teenage pregnancies, as you rightly said. What normally happens that can't even be recorded in most cases that not only teenage pregnancies, there are those associated effects, the sexually transmitted infections. These are not normally measured. We only see the teenage pregnancy here and there, girls dropping out of schools, women having unwanted pregnancy, matured women that are not teenagers anymore, but having unwanted pregnancies that they were not prepared for. But the other main key thing is always the underlying health factor. Sexually high prevalence of sexually transmitted infections like gonorrhea, syphilis, HIV, and so many others. At that period, they also skyrocket. So we thought of all this. We do not want a repetition of that again in after Ebola, coronavirus. Definitely we are going to defeat COVID-19. So what we've done, first of all, through our outreach mobile clinics that I earlier spoke about, our 14 outreach clinics. So even though coronavirus rules demand that we sometimes go into total national lockdown and districts currently partial district lockdown, but those outreach mobile clinics are always there, first of all, to participate in radio discussion programs, telling people about, sensitizing people about prevalences of STIs, and also about family planning. It may surprise you to know that for family planning, we still give direct services to people free. These are free services that will render to communities in those hard to reach communities, in those villages.
It's now time for our health sensitization, even as we continue to prevent ourselves from the coronavirus pandemic.
There is a global outbreak of a new coronavirus disease that is rapidly spreading to a number of countries around the world. Common signs and symptoms include cough, fever, shortness of breath, and difficulty in breathing. In severe cases, complications include pneumonia, and kidney failure may occur and possibly leads to death if left untreated. Everyone is at risk of getting this disease. The virus is spread through droplets produced during coughing or sneezing by a sick person. You can get the disease if you are in close contact with a person who has the disease or infected animals and animal products. Travel to areas affected by the outbreak is a risk to getting infected. To protect yourself and others, wash your hands frequently with soap and water or use alcohol-based hand rubs. Cook your meat products and eggs thoroughly. If you are infected, Prevent spreading the disease by covering your mouth and nose when coughing or sneezing with flexed elbow or tissue, and wash your hands immediately after. If you suspect that you or a member of your family or anybody has the coronavirus, you should immediately seek medical care at the nearest health facility. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and the ZNPHI with support from partners.
Well, that's all we have time for in this broadcast. You have been watching Multimedia Plus online television news with me, Eustace Victor Jones, indeed. Now, before we go, a recap of our top stories. Stone mining began in Sierra Leone. What's the present condition of miners? There has been speculations around a possible emergence of cholera amid the coronavirus pandemic. Multimedia Plus examines living conditions in more WAF and Colvert communities. And Mary Stopes warns about a possible increase in the rate of teenage pregnancy in Sierra Leone following the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Thank you very much indeed for sharing your time with us here on Multimedia Plus online television news. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Multimedia Plus online television for more updates, news broadcasts, programs and interviews as usual. We are also on Facebook at Multimedia Plus. Please visit, like and share our page in case you haven't. I have been Eustace Victor Jones here with you. Stay safe, stay blessed and stay healthy. Bye for now until we meet again for another broadcast.